All right, so following John Morant's phenomenal performance against the San Antonio Spurs, where he scored a career high 52 points, Allen Iverson went ahead and tweeted sooner or later, tagging John Morant with a picture of his MVP trophy and John Morant's jersey hanging onto it. Now, I do believe John Morant can get some MVPs in his NBA career. His future is bright. He's a phenomenal young player, and he has a chance to emerge as the young player out of all the young guys, Tatum, Luca, all the young guys. He has a chance to emerge as the one amongst them all. Now, Stephen A. Smith is going to talk about where John Morant ranks amongst other MVP candidates this season. I'm going to let him talk about it, and I'll chime in.
Stephen A., did you see this tweet by your boy AI? Remember when he won the MVP, but that was back in 2001, and he's saying sooner or later for Ja Morant. Monica McNutt back here with us. So, Stephen A., what do you think? Is he the MVP right now? Because he's the show.
He could be. I think it's a four-horse race, and it's fluid between four. If you watch Jokic and what...
Why is Molly looking at Stephen A so crazy for saying a four-player race? Like, I have five guys off the top of my head. You go with the two centers, Embiid and Jokic. You go with DeMar DeRozan and what he's doing for Chicago. You go with Ja Morant and what he's doing in Memphis, of course. And just off respect, you have to throw Giannis in there too. So I would have actually said five. So I don't know why I don't know why this bitch got such an attitude. She looking at him like he was crazy. She did the double take. I would definitely say that there's five MVP candidates this season. And, I think that they're gearing it for Embiid. I think they're gearing up to make Embiid the MVP. It feels like he's getting all the love. He's getting all the MVP support. And I would lean Embiid slightly because he's been so dominant. But I would not be mad if they give it to Jokic once again. Because all the analytics say that Jokic is like one of the best players ever. Like, he puts his analytics, the analytics are behind him. He does a lot for that team, and he has nobody. So for him to have that kind of record with his two top players out and the analytics and the numbers that he's putting up and just like everything he does for his ball club, I would not be mad if Jokic won it again this year. But they're going to give it to Embiid. Mark my words. Embiid's going to win MVP this year as long as he remains healthy.
What he's doing in Denver. I would say it's three because obviously Memphis is a better team than Denver. But look at what Jokic is doing without Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. is a really, really good player. I want to remind everybody, Jamal Murray was a star before he got hurt. This is a brother that showed up in the playoffs against Donovan Mitchell, and they were trading 50-point games. We keep forgetting what a star Jamal Murray was.
Yeah, he's a big-time shot maker, shot creator.
And I believe will be once he gets back, but he's been out for a while. Jokic is not playing without one of them. He's playing without both of them, and it's kept Denver in contention in the West. Let's respect that man, all right? Now, we got to put him on the outside looking in because Ja Morant and Memphis is obviously better. That brings us to a three-horse race. I know Miami just took a lead, but the bottom line is Chicago was the number one seed for a while DeMar DeRozan was holding them there, putting up 35-plus in 8 straight games and doing what the hell he was doing. And, of course, there's Joe.
And that streak that DeMar DeRozan had where he was putting up those numbers and carrying them to wins, that was phenomenal. What he was doing in the mid-range, the type of shots that he was hitting, just phenomenal. I mean, it's really art, and it's sad they're taking away the art from basketball. They're making it all analytics with these three-point shots and just people jacking up shots and everything being math-based. And it was beautiful seeing what DeMar DeRozan was able to do working from the mid-range, and he's been doing it all season. He's shooting over 50% for the year. He's having a great year. Now, DeMar DeRozan, he's somebody who we got to keep an eye out on. Because just like Paul George, I could see it happening where a top 3 MVP candidate in the season, and then when the playoffs come, he melts down, as DeMar DeRozan has done. Now, DeMar DeRozan did it against LeBron, and LeBron had a stranglehold on the Toronto Raptors. So we'll see if DeMar just needed to be in a new environment, and if if he can win. But it's not going to look too good if DeMar gets bounced out in the first round. Similar to how Paul George was top 3 and got bounced out in the first round his season in Oklahoma.
L and B, who is doing what he's doing, while Ben Simmons and all of that soap opera drama that was going on was supposed to be detracted from what Philadelphia could do. If Joel Embiid somehow, some way, still ends up doing what he did prior to Harden's arrival, while Harden is there now on the court with him, that's going to warrant strong consideration. But Ja Morant,
Yeah, they're going to give the MVP to Joel Embiid.
is something spectacular, and we should all be so grateful to him because the league was supposed to be in his hands and Zion Williamson's hands. And
Every time Embiid shoots a jumper, I'm like, what are you doing? But he cashes all of them. It's crazy. He's a great perimeter player. He's great on the perimeter. He's great with the mid-range. He's shooting the three ball well. The big men don't like to extend out there, so he gets open ones sometimes, and he's just nailing them. And he's just so strong and so imposing physically. I saw him bully Giannis. So when you can bully Giannis Antetokounmpo, you could pretty much bully anybody in the NBA. So guys are kind of giving him space because they want to have that strength. They want to stay based and be able to, take the beating when he attacks the basket. So he pretty much gets a lot of jumpers where guys like barely put a hand up or like barely get up there to him, and sometimes the hand doesn't even get to his face. So he shoots a lot of semi-uncontested jumpers or only somewhat contested jumpers, and he gets wide open jumpers too, and he just nails them.
a few others. And Zion Williamson obviously being out. Ben Simmons with the drama. Kyrie Irving with the vaccine mandate and stuff like this. There were so many things that were threatening to rob this phenomenal season of what it was supposed to be. And Ja Morant, particularly last night, reminded us, excuse me, season ain't over yet. It's actually just beginning. Steph Curry put on the show. Kevin Durant was putting on the show. Klay Thompson returned. It's Chris Paul and Devin Booker and those boys doing their thing. And you saw LaMelo and Bridges and them in Charlotte, DeRozan and Levine in Chicago, and Embiid in Philadelphia. Boston coming on strong. Udoka's doing a hell of a job. Jason Tatum.
Udoka is doing a hell of a job. They started off slow in Boston. I think he was trying to figure things out. But, man, he got them boys playing defense, real defense.
Jaylen Brown and those boys balling. And Ja Morant is like, yeah, he's giving everybody something to shoot for because he ain't next. He's now.
Agreed. Ja Morant has been the best point guard in the NBA this season. Best guard, period. The best guard play has been by Ja Morant this season. And second, I would have to think about it. DeMar DeRozan. Yeah, DeMar DeRozan because he's in the MVP conversation. But, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, Steph Curry, all these guys, they're having great seasons or whatever. But Ja Morant has been the best guard in the NBA this season.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything that you said, Stephen A., including the fact that this MVP thing is going to go down to the wire. I think probably the biggest argument against Ja is the streak of games he missed. I believe it was 12 earlier in the season, and the Memphis Grizzlies managed to hold pace. Okay.
Yeah.
But I think over that stretch, the Memphis Grizzlies held pace, and they did not lose. And I think that speaks to the talent on that roster.
Great point.
And the tremendous coaching job that Taylor Jenkins is doing, who certainly should be in the conversation for Coach of the Year. Right this minute.
But there is no denying that team plays much better when Ja Morant's on the court.
Though, I'm willing to give it to Ja. I'm absolutely willing to give it to Ja. And all those players that you mentioned, Stephen A., the point that you make about Nikola Jokic is probably the most intriguing, but I don't know that the return of Jamal Murray would help his case as MVP. But as I'm digging through the numbers, his PER is 32.2 and has 11.3 win shares with that team. And so he's been incredible. Where they fall in the standings obviously hurts his case. But when it comes to Ja, I just look at the numbers, the consistency, the energy, the box office quality, and whether we want to admit it or not.
This guy, Ja Morant, is unstoppable. He's unstoppable when he's attacking the basket. His ability to just leap and dunk. And I saw Colin Cowherd say like something along the lines that like Ja Morant is like Derrick Rose and John Wall and Westbrook. Like he's super athletic and he can dunk everything. But what happens when he loses some of that balance or he starts getting hit too hard? And my response to that is this. Ja Morant's floater is incredible. It might be the hardest thing to guard in the NBA right now, honestly. His floater, once maybe you can stop him from getting to the rim or, maybe he's having an off game or whatever, or maybe he's choosing to to go all the way to the rim and he's struggling around the rim or whatever. But if he gets in position to take that floater and he gets the shot off, it's going in. Like if you don't stop it or foul him or block it before he gets it up, he's going to make that floater every single time over the big man. That floater is incredible. The amount of points that he scores in the paint at his size, being able to dunk it, being able to score over the rim and under the rim, above the rim and below the rim, he's incredible. He's incredible. And my favorite part about Ja's game is he's a distributor as well. He's a real point guard. So he can actually, if he loses a little bit of athleticism or if his three-point jumper never fully materializes, he can just be a great distributor. He can be a guy that gets in the lane and then kicks it out. He can be a guy that gets in the lane and finds other guys for lob threats. Like, Ja Morant is a beast. He has the total package. All he's missing is a super reliable jumper, but he's shooting the three at about 34%. I want to say he takes one or two a game, so it's not like he's shying away from it, and he's shooting 34% from it. So Ja Morant is a guy who he can work on that, and then he'll just be unstoppable. He's way too dynamic.
The box office nature of a guy does tend to lean into this conversation.
Damn right.
And
I'm a voter. I'm telling you it does.
Right. Oh, absolutely. So his squad is so young, and so when I look at what's
Stephen A. think he official because he a voter. That don't mean you know shit about basketball, dude. It be guys voting that don't know shit about basketball.
around him and the help. Not that those guys are not good, but Joel Embiid's going to have James Harden moving forward, right? DeMar DeRozan, who's been incredible, and I really was leaning that way before yesterday. Zach LaVine has been great, and when the big shows up for his team, why am I blanking on name? Valanciunas, when he shows up, I think he's very formidable with that group. So right now for me, it's Ja. I think the way that he leads, the way that he entertains on both sides of the floor, to me, it's Ja right now.
I don't have a problem with that. What I'm saying to you is this, Monica. Be very clear about this. If Jamal Murray was in Denver, Jokic's numbers would be the same, but their wins would not be. They'd have more. Let me be very clear about that. We wouldn't be looking at Denver as some 6th or 7th seed. We'd be looking at Denver as a top 4 seed in the West if Jamal Murray was there.
No doubt about it. And if Jamal Murray and MPJ were both there, they'd be a top. They might have the best record in the West. Like, Phoenix has been really, really connected this season, but they might be second. They might have a better record than the Warriors. If they were fully healthy, they might have a better regular season record than the Warriors.
With Jokic. Ain't no doubt about that.
I agree with you. I do think he's scoring a little bit less. But you could argue that the assist numbers would be up. But I agree with you. 100% if they were healthy, that's a different team.
Okay.
Okay.
But anyway, Ja Morant having a phenomenal season. My MVP list as of today, if I had to give it out, I'd say Joel Embiid is my MVP for the season. Trailing slightly below him, just by a smidgen. He's having a hell of a year. Nikola Jokic, I would not be mad once again if they give it to Nikola Jokic one more time. I'll put him second. Third, we'll go with whoever ends up finishing with a better record between the Grizzlies and the Bulls. I'll go third. So if it might be Ja, it might be DeMar DeRozan. And fifth, I'll go Giannis Antetokounmpo, just out of respect, because Giannis is having a monster season and nobody's acknowledging it. And it feels like Giannis isn't even really trying, and he's still the man. So Giannis fifth. So once again, Embiid, Jokic, Ja for now, DeMar 4, Giannis 5. Thanks for watching. Peace.